Well, hello everybody. Got a few minutes until people start really showing up in here. Uh, I'm not usually the pilot of creatures. I'm usually one of the co-pilots, but Eric is still getting ready, and it was getting kind of late and kind of needed to get started, so everybody could move on with their lives. So we got a couple things to talk about today. One of which is a little bit of progress on uh, my foot that I decided to check its durability. Um, Also got a couple of things to talk about as far as a certain person or a couple people actually getting some uh, grooming done to their hair, and then some things that we saw on the way back from our trip to Springfield. So don't know how long I'll be the pilot tonight, but figured having me on the cam and stuff rather than just a blank screen and me talking seemed like the better option than other way around. Hey there. I think it's Lupido, right? Hey, Eric's still getting ready, so I'm just getting us started off. I know it's weird for me to be in the pilot chair, but uh, he's taking more time than us females do tonight. Eric says, hi from Upper Mansion. We'll be down soon. So, yeah, I guess I can go ahead and get started on the update from my foot, since that's kind of my story, anyways. Plus, what he puts in as far as his lovely versions of it. Got to make sure to add in his. You know, we love you, Eric. He's got to make sure to make it extra comical to keep us all laughing about it, especially seeing how it's going to be a lot longer of a healing process than I had originally anticipated. Um, but went to Springfield for my appointment today, and um, got. Eric says yes, foot talk. Got it. For all you with foot fetishes out there, this may be a little graphic for you, but yeah. So went to Springfield to my appointment today, and they took a look, and the doctor said it's looking a whole lot better than what he was really expecting it to. It's healing better than it was, but sorry, I'm getting distracted by the chat. Um, but yeah, so it's looking better than he was originally expecting it to. They went ahead and took out the stitches that they had originally put in, which didn't hurt too bad, but there were a couple times where it felt like somebody was jabbing my foot with something very, very sharp, which I guess you would kind of expect when somebody's cutting sutures off. Uh, I've got a total of 4 rods sticking out of my toes that I get to get taken out in 6 weeks. Unfortunately, the healing time altogether is looking at closer to 3 months. 3 more months after the 2 weeks that I've already had. So it's a lot longer than I was originally expecting, but I mean, I did a lot of damage to my foot. He kind of explained it like where they were cut and where it was broken. I could kind of unhinge my foot had I wanted to. Kind of like if, I'm sure a lot of you have seen Harry Potter. The second one where he loses the bones in his hand and he kind of bends his arm back. Apparently I could have done that with my foot. That's how badly I broke it. So, It's going to take a little bit longer as far as the healing goes. I'm still not really allowed to drive long distances, and seeing how I work an hour and 40 minutes away makes it a little bit difficult to be able to get to work, even if my job is accommodating on the whole situation, because the doctor said I could technically go back to work as long as I can sit in the wheelchair and kind of point and direct, rather than actually doing anything. But as an assistant manager, I have to be more physically involved, breaking down pallets, making carts. It's more than just directing people. I'm very, very much involved in the day-to-day operations, not just sitting back and telling others what to do. So I'm waiting to kind of hear from my bosses and see if they're willing to be accommodating when the 6-week period is up, or if they're gonna have me wait the 3 months, what they're wanting to do. I'm gonna be trying to kind of look for a stay-at-home job in the meantime, because even though I'm gonna be getting short-term disability while I'm out of work, that's a long time for a short-term disability, and it's only 60% of my pay. So I don't know about you guys, but that's kind of low ball for being able to survive. I mean, granted, it's not a whole lot of bill-wise and stuff, but I do have weekly bills come out. Like, I've got my tires that I pay off every week. It's only $28, but that $28 kind of adds up when you add in the cost of food, the cost of the medical supplies, the cost of the doctor's appointments, because my next appointment alone, just going in there, I'm going to have to dish out $75 just to be seen. Luckily this time, because it was a ER referral, I didn't have to pay anything this time, which is good because I didn't have money to pay them anyways. But to be able to have the upkeep and everything for even making sure this is getting taken care of properly, plus to, feed myself and help out with the bills for the mansion and stuff like that, it is not conducive to 60% of my pay. So if anybody has any work from home jobs that you'd be willing to suggest, I will take any suggestions on that. Let me look at the chat real quick. Okay, so is it Lupita? Is that how you say it? So I want to make sure I'm saying that right, if we've been saying it wrong this entire time, which I thought it sounded a little off, but hey, my last name nobody can pronounce, let alone spell, so. She says, yes, it's me. Yes, okay. Yay me, Lupita. Okay, I got it. I'll make sure he says it right from now on. Alright, so Lupita said, yes, it's me, but Eric pronounces it wrong. It's more like Lupita, accent on the second syllable. Glad you're healing slowly but surely. Hope Eric is taking good care of you. Yes, he is. He's been amazing, making sure that I am not only taking care of myself, but I'm still getting up and doing the movements and stuff that the doctor is wanting me to do, because I've got a walker, and it looks a lot easier than you would expect it to be. It takes its toll on my body. Because it's not like when you see the old ladies with the walker and they're kind of scooching along. No, I'm having to hop like every step, and it ends up, sorry, my earpiece is falling out. It ends up being a lot of pain in my shoulders because of having to carry my own weight with every single jump. And I'm not a physical person. I don't work out in any way, shape, or form. So even with constantly moving at work, constantly throwing boxes around and stuff like that when I'm breaking down pallets, it's still using muscles that I didn't even know weren't being used. So it's definitely taken its toll, and it's definitely been very, very sore. I try very hard not to take as much on the ibuprofen or anything like that, because next thing you know, I start having issues with my liver or something, because those can be very harsh. But at the same time, like tonight, shortly before we started this, I went ahead and took some Tylenol because my arms felt like lead. But it's slowly but surely getting to kind of be a situation where my muscles are getting used to it. And then our neighbor Cecil was kind enough to let us borrow / keep, we're not sure on which one yet, a wheelchair that he had in his backyard. And I got it all cleaned up, and I found a footrest piece that was meant for the right foot. I needed it for the left foot, so I kind of jerry-rigged it to swap it around so that it's for the left foot. But we got it all situated, all cleaned up all nice, and I was actually using it today when we went out after my appointment, because we had to stop and integrate clips, and then stopped into Petco and Walmart. God help us, we went to Walmart. Luckily they have the motorized cart, so I didn't even have to wheel myself. I could just push the little button and zoom on through. Although it got me some dirty looks. We got quite a few dirty looks from people that didn't realize that I actually need it, and I'm not just a lazy person that decided to use the cart because they didn't feel like walking all over the store. We got a little bit more on that coming up when we do have a new member in our home tonight, which when Eric gets down, we'll talk a little bit more about that. Hey, Jordan. Welcome. Eric's still getting ready, so like I said earlier that he's taking more time than us females usually do, but he didn't really care for that comment. Sounds like he's down here now, so he should be in here any minute. But I have to give him shit. I mean, especially seeing how with me using the walker and everything, and it takes more time to get anywhere when it's me ready to go and out the door kind of thing, and he's still getting ready. I find it funny. I just do. But yeah, so he's definitely making sure that I'm well taken care of. The other night I was talking to my kids, and it was a little upsetting because obviously with not being able to drive very far right now, I'm not really able to see them. My oldest, understandably being 10, she's very, very angry with the situation, especially being 10 years old and doesn't understand it. So it was a very kind of heartbreaking conversation with her that I had to have. And then her dad explaining to me just how angry she really is was even more upsetting. So that night he took extra care to make sure that, I was taken care of as far as if I needed anything. He kind of already jumped on it and made sure I had it before I even had a chance to ask. So I don't know where I would be right now without his help. He's been doing pretty amazing. Lupita says, well, you look very pretty, so you did good getting ready in a hurry. Thank you. This was actually how I got ready for my appointment earlier today, because I knew we'd be kind of cutting it close. I got up at, I think it was about the time he got up, about 5:30 this morning. I went back to sleep. That was too early to be getting up if I didn't really have anything that needed to be done. But when I got up a couple hours later, I went upstairs, re-straightened my hair, did my makeup, all that fun stuff, so that I didn't have to do it as soon as we got home. The most I did while he started getting ready was I laid on the bed and had my foot propped up so that it could get its blood flow and everything proper, however the hell they want to call it. Because right now they've taken away the cast-looking thing that I originally had. I've now got a makeshift shoe/boot thing that I'm able to actually take it off, and I'm supposed to take it off daily and clean it and all that fun stuff, but I can take showers again. I don't have to wrap my foot in a trash bag and have it propped up on the clawfoot tub so I can take a bath, which in itself was fun because the clawfoot tub is kind of higher up there. So maneuvering myself in and out of the tub, especially when I'm trying to probably be more independent than I probably should. Uh, Especially if Eric is working or has something else going on and I'm wanting some relaxed time to get in and out of there so that I can take a bath. So it's going to be great to be able to take showers again and be able to kind of stand up on my own and not have to worry about making sure that it's not getting wet, because that was their main concern, is I was not allowed to put any pressure on my foot, wasn't allowed to get it wet in any way, shape, or form. So now that I have this other thing on, I've got to clean it daily, rewrap it myself. I can have the thing off. My foot looks grotesque, and I will not torture you guys like I did my kids, because they both wanted to see what it looked like. So I sent a picture to their dad when I called him earlier today. my oldest, her name's Jordan, said how grotesque it looked and was overly dramatic with it. Love her to death, but she was being extra, very, very extra with it. My youngest, Emery, is just like, oh my gosh, Mom, that's your foot? I'm like, yes, kid. I wasn't kidding when I told you guys I royally messed it up. I meant to look at the x-rays earlier today from when I first messed it up, but between the doctor coming in, had one of them come in to rewrap it. They took me for a secondary x-ray, and I had asked the doctor when he was re-looking at my foot about it. He said that he had to have the nurse log into the hospital records so that they could look it up, because it's not at the clinic's in their files or whatever. And I'm just like, okay, great. And then I forgot, because a lot of information was kind of thrown at me all at once, and I suck at retaining information with certain things, especially when it comes to doctor stuff. I am better with it when it comes to my thyroid stuff, because I've been dealing with it for so many years. But all the stuff that they were kind of throwing my way today, as far as the work and how long to stay off it, how to properly clean it, all that stuff, it just kind of added up really quickly, and there wasn't really room in my head for anything else to remember. So, I mean, yeah, it's been a long road. It's going to be a longer road, but luckily I've got Eric that, like I said, has been doing a really good job of taking care of me. Unfortunately, it means some of our concert plans that we were thinking about getting, I'm going to have to hold off on. At least for now, up until I decide or figure out where I am financially, because I'm very much one of those, I want to get the tickets now. I want to go. I want to make it happen. Especially when it comes to him, especially when it comes to our concerts and stuff like that. But financially, I needed to take a step back and remember, hey, you've only got this much money left. X amount is supposed to go to your car, because my car's still messed up. We haven't had a chance to get it taken in, and the guy that is the specialist that can put the piece in my car isn't there until Monday. So I'm supposed to go and get that put in. I'm thinking I'm probably going to end up putting that off even longer, because I can't drive right now anyways. There's nowhere for me to drive. I love our little town, but it's bumfucked Egypt. So there's not really anything really close to drive to, unless I need like my jewel pods, which I just got a pack of them today, so I'm good on those for a couple days at least. So I probably won't even need them anytime soon. But besides that, like any other place, it's a half-hour drive to Macomb, and since my car is only working at half capacity at the moment, the engine-wise, it would be a lot of work to try and get my car to get up some of those hills, because they're pretty steep. So I'm not even sure if my car could make it right now. So, do they work this time? Jordan, does what work this time? talking about the piece from my car. I haven't gotten it put in yet. The guy that's supposed to put it in was off this week. So I haven't gotten that piece put in to find out whether or not that's the piece that I need or if I have to go other avenues. Oh, the vapes? Yeah. I ended up going, we went to town last week and we stopped over at that convenience store and I got my money back for it. So we ended up going to a Casey's in Macomb and I got it one there for half the price. So I only paid $11 $10 for this versus the $25 they charged me over there for the same kit. And what was funny is when I went to take it in to do the return, I explained to the guy that because it was a different guy this time, I had explained to him that I had come in the night before and bought a Juul. I already had an issue with that one. I had already done an exchange on it. And when he was going to give me an exchange again, he handed me the same box that I had returned the day before. And I know this because it was open. I was like, no, this is the exact same one I just brought back. He just put it back on the shelf. I'm like, I know this one doesn't work. I just want my money back. I'm done with it. And so he called his boss, and his boss explained the situation. While he's on the phone with his boss, I'm like, tell him it's the cripple girl that comes in. Because I guarantee you there is not another girl that comes in with the walker right now like me. Because this guy remembered me from the last time that I had been there. So they ended up giving me a cash refund for it, so I didn't even have to wait for it to go back on my check. Which worked out perfect for me. Yeah, Jordan, seriously, he seriously tried giving me the exact same one, and I'm like, yep, nope, I'm not having it. I just want my money back. I will never go there for the Juul devices again, but the pods themselves work just fine, just the devices were not. They charge way too much, and it didn't work. They gave me 2 different ones, and the third one looked like the box was in the same condition as the other ones. If you have 3 of them on the shelf, they all came in at the same time. 2 of them don't even work. You'd think that they'd be like, okay, well, if these 2 don't work, then this third one is probably going to be defective too. Let's just pull them from the shelf, send them back to the manufacturer and be like, hey, so these don't work. We need to do an exchange on them or something. Like, get your money back for them or something. Don't try and resell them to the same person that had issues with the first 2. But, I mean, I don't know. I work in retail, but anytime we got returns like that stuff went back to claims, and we sent it in to get our money back for it. It didn't go back on the shelves if we knew there was a problem with it to resell to a different customer. But, you know, that's not my game anymore. I work the vendor portion of retail now. I don't have to actually deal with people as much. But looks like Eric's finally done prepping himself. You do me a favor? Will you grab me one of the waters that I did not put in the fridge?
I suppose. I had to throw your other can away, by the way. You left it over here.
Yeah, because I hadn't gone back that way to toss it yet.
Well, we'll be back here in just a moment. I'll be joining. What do you think of our temporary launching host here?
Don't get used to it. It's once in a blue moon thing if I'm ready and he's not, and we need to get ready to go.
Yeah.
I don't plan on starting my own. I'll gladly just be a co-host of Creatures of the Night. I don't need to start my own weekly live blogging or vlogging, whatever you want to call it, live casts. But it looks like tonight he'll be drinking some blueberry margarita. I'll probably drink a little bit later, but right now I need to have some more water going through my system. Thank you.
Yep. I'll take over now.
All right.
In the front seat. You can move co-pilot.
All right, people, it's been real. Now I'm handing it back over to him. Shit.
You're good?
You said it earlier that they'd be able to hear me if I did that beforehand, but
hopping around over there.
Yeah. By the way, it's Lupita, not Lupita.
I saw that. Sorry, I've been saying that wrong.
I just had to make sure to pass it along because I promised her that I would.
Yep. Don't expect anything less. All right. So she kept you entertained for the first half hour, huh? Now you get to deal with me.
Oh shit! It was really that long?
Yeah. Well, minus the 2-minute countdown at the beginning. But,
right.
this is a mess.
Lord knows that I talk enough on my own that it wasn't too difficult.
My earbuds are just a mess. You would have thought that we got involved in some intense gaming last week or something. Who would know?
Wouldn't think that we played, 3 dates in a row?
Yeah, we did some intense gaming last weekend because, ironically, and I think I saw him in the chat.
Yeah.
Gamer Jordan, he had a Monday off too, I guess. Different reasons. U.S., we had Memorial Day. He had a different reason, but it synced up. It worked out perfectly. So we did some days of gaming on Twitch. All right. So if you can see already, the reveal, some of it, got a little bit of a haircut. I think she might have talked about that.
I mentioned stopping at Great Clips, but I didn't mention that you were the one that got your hair cut.
Yeah. So, yeah, that was an ordeal, too.
That was a fun one.
That was a fun one. I had, her first name, Amanda, was the haircutter stylist person. And, anyway. Oh, Shannon. Hello.
Hey, Shannon.
You haven't been in one of these for a while. Welcome. Glad you could join. Let me catch up a little bit on the chat here.
Oh my god, No Way was the last one I got, and that was about my vapes.
Where you look very pretty. Oh, it was directed to you.
Yes.
Oh, hey, good job. Vapes, okay. Thanks for all the updates. Time for Eric's unveiling. Unveiling, yeah. Drum roll. Okay. And yo-yo. And sup, nerd. Alright. So, I'd gone since May of last year. Those of you who followed me long enough, you remember that picture I took back then. I went MySpace era, short hair. And it was, of course, that emo look, the razored look and everything. But it was a shorter version. Today, I didn't want to have that much cut off. I wanted to keep the length, but I wanted to do something that would also deal with the split ends and the rats and stuff. Those of you who know, when you're brushing through and it's like, yeah, eventually we get that way sometimes.
Yeah, sitting here going like this and your fingers kind of get stuck.
Right.
That happened to me last night.
So now I have went in and went this short, which is still long, luckily. So I kind of have this, well, you can tell on the, let me turn it up just a little bit. That's the fancy thing about this nice, there you go. Hey, let there be light. All right, for just a minute, because those of us here live like vampires. We hate the light. All right, so, yeah, so of course that emo look still, the covering of the one eye, but then you see how it's the razor look, which apparently is a specialty item anymore. Which we'll get into that. But yeah, apparently it's kind of a specialty thing because when I went in, and I'll turn this back down again. There. Loves ya, can't stay, must fulfill my Cinderella duties. Yeah, congrats again, Shannon. I heard it's so hard for me to. You know what I'm talking about. It's kind of hard to sink in. And then your oldest had messaged me and he wants to game tonight, so it's just kind of, I'm still taking it in, still letting that news absorb. Hopefully, just like you being considered grandma, you're letting that sink in too. But congrats. So anyway, so I went in, and originally, this guy, he was happy to help me, of course. And it was a walk-in. I didn't make an appointment at this, because this is not my normal place that I go to usually. A place I normally go to which is near in the closest town near here, they were closed on Memorial Day, and I forgot that I'm in an office type job setting for work from home where we recognize bank holidays, stock market holidays, etc. So that kind of stuff. So I look at all the other like in-person customer service jobs as like retail. So I wouldn't have thought that Great Clips was closed on Memorial Day. Those that work in hair business or work at Great Clips will probably butcher me alive for saying that. It's like, well, but I didn't think. So I went there and they were closed. So we happened to be in town today for her doctor follow-up appointment, and I was like, okay, I'm going to go ahead and do this now, because ahead of the concert in the middle of this month, I wanted my do redone, and ahead of coloring it or anything like that, I wanted the cutting part of it be done. So we got that, cha-ching, we did that today.
And then I stole his hat for a good 2 hours after that.
Right. I let her wear my beanie. And anyway, so I showed him a picture of what I wanted, the style I wanted. And the guy was like, ooh, I don't really do razor styles, but I'm going to have to find someone who does. And then asked his neighbor, coworker, and she does. But she was about ready to go and break or clock out or something.
She had 2 appointments ahead of you, and then she hadn't taken a break yet, was what it was. Because even when you were getting yours done, one of the guys that had come in after, she had asked him, do you mind if I go back there and take like 2 bites of my food before I come out and grab you? Just like give me a couple minutes.
Right.
I felt so bad for her. I'm like, I've been that person.
Yeah. So, so then I think she kind of felt bad a little bit because she was like trying to also help them find, someone who could do that. And they started asking like, and then suddenly like 2, 3, 4 other employees were involved in about who does that style, which again, that's how I learned apparently it's a specialty item now. And I'm special, we know this.
Unique cookie.
Unique cookie. So he was like, well, Amanda could get you, but it'll be about a 20-minute wait, so can you? And I was like, that's fine. It's fine. And it didn't end up being quite that long.
No,
it seemed like maybe 10.
I don't even think it was like 10.
I mean, she was like done pretty quick.
Yeah.
With her, the person before me. Anyway, so then she happily took me under her arm. I went to her seat, and she commenced with seeing what I wanted to do, so I showed her the picture again. And then she instantly became almost infatuated with my hair.
Now, mind you, I did get some video clips of this.
I have not seen her video clips of this yet.
And unfortunately, it wasn't as long or as great as I wanted it to be, because where I was sitting with my wheelchair was kind of out of the way of everybody else, because I didn't want to be right in the center, because where her station was right by where the checkout area is, the check-in. So I was kind of in this little corner, which is part of the reason I was happy the guy wasn't able to do it, because he was on the opposite side where I wouldn't have been able to take any video. But it was very entertaining for me, because he had offered if I wanted to stay in the car. I'm like, no, I'm going in. I'm like, I want to watch this.
Yeah. So
that was my entertainment for the day.
That was, yeah, so that was that. So then she started, with the razoring. We decided the length. I predetermined. I didn't want to go as short as I did in 2022. So for the 2023 style, wanted to leave it long enough to where if I wanted to do something around Gothmas period, which for us, that starts October 1st through December 31st, that I could do something then if I wanted to, because enough growth would come through the summer months. And that's one thing she complimented me on too, because I know I've done better with the removing of stress as much as I can with toxic people, and combined with not getting I'll call it, the basic bitch shampoos in the stores. I pay a little extra for my conditioning and shampooing. And anyway, she complimented that too. She noticed that. She's like, you have some new hair growth here too. I was like, thank you.
Oh, she was in love with his curls in the back.
Yeah, she loves my shag, because naturally, without straightening it or doing anything to it, I have a shag, and it's kind of annoying and obnoxious. It
looks good,
She
though.
was like, oh, oh, and she'd fall in love with my hair. She was fingering
Honestly,
my hair.
if you
rubbing her fingers through my hair. You know what I mean?
Yeah, honestly, if you would have let her style it the way she wanted to, she probably would have gelled your hair in the back.
Oh gosh.
To keep your curls.
Yeah, she loved my curls, my natural shag.
I mean, granted, when she was doing it, the curls looked really good, but I also know that once his hair dries, they would have annoyed the shit out of him.
It just gets so poofy and it's thick. Which, again, I love that being, my mid-30s, still having that, because I know some people my same age that are balding, and so enjoy this while I can, so I'm not, but I can still a little bit of like, in terms of texture and the way it lays. But yeah, no, I'm happy I still have a full head of hair. It's pretty healthy from the looks of it. And for what compliments I've gotten from random strangers on the street, which we talked about that briefly too with her, and the people that do my hair also. So
sometimes you get those hairstylists that are just very, very dry. They try and strike up conversation, but they don't really. They're not good at it.
At least she was honest.
She was awesome. Like, I was sitting there cracking up from my little seat, and I think the people next to me didn't realize that I was kind of with him. So, like, they just saw me start laughing, and then she starts talking to kind of me, and she goes, "See, right?" I'm like, "Yes." And so they kind of got it at that point. But at first they were looking at me like I was crazy for just sitting there laughing at the conversation.
Yeah. No, and
I
tend to be kind of a natural, charismatic individual, apparently, because even when I came back and from the first attempt and the guy sent me back to the chair, there's a red-headed guy that was sitting next to her, and I said, well, I don't want a basic bitch haircut or whatever, and I seen him going, like, laughing or whatever. So
he asked me.
I bring humor to the thing.
He asked me while you were giving your name and everything if I was your emotional support for getting your haircuts.
Oh, he did. That's the first I'm hearing that. I don't know.
I'm like, no. Technically, he's my emotional support for my foot shits.
Yeah. That's. And then did you get into what happened to your foot and all that?
All I said was lawnmower, and he goes, "Oh God!" And I'm like, "Yeah, I left it at that. I didn't feel like getting back into that."
When good lawnmowers go bad.
Oh wait, I forgot. We're saying it's a shark attack.
We're saying it's a shark attack. Yes.
My boss, my big boss, was on the phone with me yesterday, and when I told him that was his idea for it, he took it and ran with it. He goes, "Yeah, you were saving this 5-year-old little boy from a shark, and the shark caught your foot, and you took your other foot and kicked him, and that's why you only got that part of your foot cut."
You should have seen the shark by the time she was done.
Right.
So
I'm like, he goes, "You got to make yourself the hero in this." I'm like, yes, because I want all that glory and attention.
Yes.
I'm that much of a people person.
So, needless to say, after a lot of complimenting and running her fingers through my hair and caressing it and massaging my head and just short of going, oh! Basically, then, long story short, she was almost as happy as I was with the outcome. Showed me the backside and everything in the mirror. I hopefully got it on video. I did.
No, I didn't.
When I spun around?
I did. Oh, in the very beginning, yes.
Yes, I did. I did that because I knew you were recording, and I'm just waiting here like a man-child. I need to do something. So I started spinning in the chair. I don't know. It happens.
I mean, I could send it to your messenger.
I want to see that,
okay.
Whatever you see.
It's like...
But anyway, so... No, Amanda, the hair person, was very good.
Next time we're there, I'm going to have to leave her a better tip, right?
Yeah, I know. We won't talk about that.
Yeah, we're not going to, but...
I'm broke, bitch. What can I say? But for me, tipping anybody is a big deal. Because I just... Yeah. I don't know, Jordan in Ireland, if you guys have a tipping thing or not, but in America, it seems like capitalism's excuse for paying people under minimum wage. Yeah, I won't go into it more than that, but it just seems a bit, yeah. Anyway. Lupita says, your hair looks great. Thank you. Lupita, right?
Yes.
Okay, sorry. I'll take a minute. Man, when it's not the proctologist, it's the hair seductress. Nice, yes. Dr. Obvious, he got it. You remember that story? Checking out my my cheeks. No, the hair visit was much better. I would prefer it, honestly, just because it was more affordable, and it wasn't them just looking at what we already knew was a hemorrhoid and just charging me $165 for him to notice the obvious. And I felt that he got the better deal because he got to check out my butt, which he can confirm from maybe seeing it a time or two that it is a nice specimen. Right?
Yes. We are not getting into that right now.
What can I say? In my own mansion, I'm kind of somewhat of a, especially when Zach's gone, I kind of tend to be a nudist of a sort. I'm very open about that, and so I can walk around, towel around me or towel off. It doesn't matter. But I'm comfortable enough with it that it's like, hey, it's a butt.
Just like their tits.
Just like, yes, just like tits. It's like, yeah.
I mean,
okay, yes, like boobies, yes. That's gonna be a soundbite someone's gonna grab. And
yes.
make fun of me.
No, you know what? I'm gonna grab this off of there. You saying boobies like that?
Yeah.
I'm gonna make that your ringtone or your text tone.
Okay, I could see that being a thing, yes. But like I said.
I sent you the clips, by the way.
Oh yes, 1 second. Here.
There should be 3 of them total.
Let me log in here. And I will say, as I pull this up here.
He has not seen these, so.
Yeah, I have not seen these, but I was going to say, a true friend is not a real friend until you see their butt.
Nick, if you ever watch this, I guess you're not my real friend.
Oh!
He has never seen me without clothes on, so fully clothed.
Yeah. That shit. Remember.
Although it's always a fun threat when he gets to the point of being a little too much. Like, keep it up, I'm going to send you a titty pic.
Oh, yeah.
And then he shuts up.
Oh, yeah.
For you that don't know, Nick is my best friend.
Best guy friend.
Yeah, he's my best guy friend, and he's like a younger brother to me, so to threaten him with that, it's funny.
Yeah, it's kind of like, I don't know, it's when it's like with Colton with me, if I'm like, hey, Colton, but it's funny, when we've gone to urban exploring and stuff, he zooms in on my butt. You seen that clip?
Yes.
So,
yes, I have.
So there's
Colton,
that.
I appreciated that.
He appreciates a good butt, but he just hadn't, to my knowledge, seen a bare butt. Maybe he's seen a plumber's crack of mine, but beyond that, he has not seen a full moon, to my knowledge.
I can remedy that.
Anyway.
Colton, if you're interested, let me know.
Yes. Colton, if you see this, you're going to be, yeah. Because I have the picture of that you in the banana costume right to my left side here, and I just enjoy it every single. I know you hate me for that. Let me see. Let me read the chat here. George says, here, no one tips. See? So,
let it finish reading what he says.
But not gonna lie, I tip sometimes if the person was good at their job. Well, yeah. It's just, I just have a problem with, I guess, how it's viewed by the powers that be, that it's okay to pay someone under minimum wage because it's like, oh, well, they'll make commission or they'll make tips. I just have a problem with that. That doesn't sit well with me.
And like I was explaining to him in the car, I know especially for hairstylists, because the lady who does my hair, she's been doing it since I was 3 years old. Love her to death. I always make sure to give her at least a $10 tip, even though my hair costs a hell of a lot more to do than his.
Yeah.
But she has to pay for her chair. As far as my understanding goes, any hairstylist has to pay to have their chair there.
That's sad, though. That's kind of like teachers in this country where they have to buy their own supplies.
But
it's not right.
It's not right, but she's done it out of her house before, and having strangers come in and out of her house, she didn't really care for it. So that's part of the reason that she does it actually at a salon now. Mm-hmm. So.
Let me do this so we can get away from, because half the people on Facebook, I swear, is turning into OnlyFans 2.0. Because half of the stuff that I see on Facebook and the stories and stuff are, not that I complain all the time, but it's half topless women and everything like that. I mean, Facebook has become very naughty. Let's put it that way. But yet Zuckerberg will still fuck you from something that you said or did, 2 years ago, or, Anyway, I won't go into that. But
I got pinged for telling him was it you? I said I beat fair and square on a game? No.
I don't know. What was it?
No, it might have been Nick. I don't remember. I said something about next time I'll beat you fair and square. Talking about a game, and I got zooped for it.
It just doesn't make any sense. It makes you hate Facebook even more,
I'm like, you guys are wrong. I was talking about a game. It had nothing to do with threatening anybody, so I don't know.
Well, and there's a reason we moved this live stream. Oh, there it is. A reason we moved Creatures of the Night from Facebook to YouTube. Because, there's reasons. I got tired of Facebook. And if it wasn't because of my group pages, I have a paranormal team, and I have, the Urban Exploring channel, or page and stuff, my music page stuff, I probably, I'd be just on there way less probably. But I do a lot of memes and shit posts. That's really what I do, because I try not to treat Facebook very seriously. But I get away with so much stuff, and I'm in their top 1% content creator thing, and they're like, good job, keep it up, and I get awards all the time, and half of the shit I'm sharing is very naughty. It's something, it make me kind of cringe if my mom read it, but it's still funny.
And your mom's on your Facebook.
My mom's of my family. My mom is on, my mom and one of my aunts and my sister, I think. But my sister's never on Facebook. But there's a reason I don't have family on here, and if any family gets butthurt about me not having them on Facebook, well, it's like, you're not missing anything. It makes me uncomfortable having you on there. That's why some people have family channels and they have workplace channels
or like pages. Who has a secondary Facebook?
Yes, because of the social media aspect of it.
Because my mom would have a heart attack if she saw the stuff that I posted on the one that I just sent the videos on.
But it's sad. You should be able to be more open and stuff.
And honestly, if I were that way, I think my mom would kind of expect it, because she knows that I'm more like my dad than I am her. But at the same time, I've got my very, very religious grandmother that's on there, and I've had my grandma make comments every once in a while about how I should pray. And I'm just like,
my viewpoint though on this, honestly, is that if you don't like it, change the channel. Everyone will live a simpler life. Just if something would be borderline offensive, if you choose to take it offensive, ignore it. Go on about your day. It's that easy.
That's not how it works in the world.
But it should be that easy.
It should.
Because that's what I do. If I see something that's offensive or something that's like, oh God, I keep scrolling.
Yep.
It's not that hard to do. Anyway. Let's see here. But they never want to take it though, says Jordan. Okay, about the tips thing.
Well, I know at least when I worked at Walmart, we weren't allowed to take tips. And me being in electronics, working on phones, and I had specific customers that they wouldn't take no for an answer. I had one guy that I think it was a $20 bill. He said, well, here's what I'm going to do. Since you're not allowed to physically take it, I'm going to drop it here in this trash right here, and you can either leave it in the trash can or you can take it and use it.
Right.
Needless to say, I ended up taking that money, but we technically were not allowed to take any tips.
All right.
So.
Jordan says, this has me dead, LMAO. Thanks for making my boring day more fun, LOL. Well,
that's why we're here.
I'm glad you discovered this. I mean, you were kind of late to the party, but you found it, so I'm glad, because I remember you were so like, wow, this is what I've been missing kind of thing. Remember when he first seen, I think that was the one that I was doing the 50 Shades of Grey reading.
If you think we're entertaining doing our gaming stuff.
We're pretty much this way. I mean, there's certain levels where I tone it down a notch, but otherwise she can test this now, being around me as much as she has. I'm pretty much just dorky, weird. I mean, even out in, like today, there's strangers completely. that were laughing. Whether they're laughing at me or with me,
Doesn't
don't know,
matter.
but they were still laughing. So this is why in 8th grade I won the most comedic, the funniest guy, which is such
But yeah, sometimes
a stupid award. But, you know, I won that for being one of the most, like, comedic comedians in 8th grade. Most useless. 8th grade graduation was just pointless. But anyway, it was funny anyway. I read that. And that's when my mom I remember she said to me, "Since when have you been funny?" I'm like,
but
to
sometimes
each
he
their
doesn't
own.
get my humor. Like
Yes,
last night.
Mom doesn't. Yeah, we.
Last night I had to clarify that I was actually joking about something because he thought I was being serious. I'm like, no.
Well, that, and it depends on the mood too.
Yeah.
It really does depend on the mood, because if there's something else, or we're unwinding from work or whatever, the time to be sarcastic at that time, it might not be the best, but you know.
But that's when it's the funniest. When we're in the kitchen making food, so that we could go sit down and watch something to eat. That's my time to really be funny, because of the fact that we're sitting down watching a movie. I might make some comments, but not a whole lot.
Yeah. The Jordan says, hate Facebook now. I really want to post what I want, but can't. I sadly have my fam on Facebook.
That was my issue. That's why I have a secondary one. Plus, that's for the vlogging, because I had people trying to add me that I don't know
She's
them.
getting a lot of perverts.
Yes, I have.
I would imagine as a female, though, you guys get more of that anyway than guys do.
I've had to make it clear more times than I can count. This is for my vlogging. This is not a date me kind of profile. So
sexual, yeah.
I'm like, if you want to stick around and pay attention to my vlogs, that's one thing. I'm fine with that. But if you're looking for a hookup or anything else, consider me married and very, very happy. Because even though I'm not, that's all I'm ever going to be to you, because I'm not interested. So.
But when guys, it's like, fellas, being a guy, myself, last I checked, it's one of those things. It's one of those things. It's like, come on, a little bit of respect. If you're going to approach a female and you're just like, you know, want to blankety blank or whatever right off the bat, you're strangers. That sets your intention, and that usually is a bad thing at that point, because then the female knows, it's like, oh, you only want me for superficial stuff, you want me for the sex, or you want me for whatever, and it's like, and you're how far away anyway, even if it was a probability? No. It just, yeah, that's why it's guys like that gives the good guys that do exist out there just a bad, it's like, all men are, you know, and I have gripes sometimes about all women are, you know, it's the same thing, just different points of view. But no, I totally do think that females get more of that garbage than guys do. Just because guys think with their other head, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, and it's not like I have any like risque titty out there pictures on my Facebook. I've literally got 2, and they're both of my face. There's no boobage showing in any of them.
So no provocative.
No.
Because there's OnlyFans girls that I have a dozen, or actually way more than that, on Facebook. And they're very provocative. They show even a little bit of areola, which can get away. I guess Mark Zuckerberg is mad about something about saying, you know, I'm going to butcher you, blah, 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 blah. And
but
you get,
titties are
and you
okay.
get Facebook jailed for that. But titty areola is okay. I don't know. There's no consistency.
I mean, besides my 2 profile pictures, which are the only ones that are public, the only other ones that are on there are our pictures that we've posted, and
right.
Those I'm still fucking covered up in. Like, the ones I have of me in my more goth dress, it comes up to here. Most of my shirts don't even come up to here. Mm-hmm. But the ones that I have pictures of on there,
like, you know, the ones that intentionally get, like, you know they're going to expect thirsty dudes in their inbox. The ones are, you know, low cut, boob crack, cleavage showing, everything. We know the type. And we know they know what they're doing.
Which is one thing he said I should do for my vlogs.
Well, yeah. I'll get more views, but then she'll get more pervs in her inbox.
Yeah, I've already gotten enough just by mentioning BDSM, so...
And if I do a vlog and I'm shirtless, oh Lord, because I know, I have simps.
You should have done your
I have
your
simps,
stream
so
today.
I have the female version of that. It's just the female version of the pervs, the ones that reach out.
they're
They're toned down a bit.
Yeah.
They're not as in your face. Oh, here's a dick pic. They're usually more like, oh, by the way, I added you because you're hot. And they're just more or less leave it at that. Maybe a little flirtatious, like, oh, what are you doing, gorgeous? Stuff like that. But
that's one thing that drives me nuts.
Unsolicited boob pics and stuff like that. I've got a few in my day, but I don't think to the ratio of unsolicited wee-wees, pee-pees. I don't think that is even comparable. But go ahead.
That's one thing that always drives me nuts is some of the people that add me on there. I'm like, okay, I kind of have started vetting them a little bit before I add them. Like, send them a message saying, hey, do I know you? Are you adding me for my vlog? Like, to get a sense of why they're adding me to begin with. Because I've gotten a lot of spam ones, too. A lot of scams. And I've had one of the last ones said something about, please help me out. Let me come to the country. I'll stay with you and blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, you're a scam. Bye.
Ew. And, yeah.
I'm like, nope. I can't even take care of myself right now because my foot and everything. Nope. I'm good. But, no, the ones that get on there and they're constantly like, hey, how are you? What are you doing? And it's like every 5 seconds. I've had one of them that I finally, I got tired of. I'm like, look, darling, I don't mind having conversations every once in a while. But one, I've got a life. I'm not going to constantly be on here. Two, the small talk drives me nuts. So
I'm not good at small talk.
If you want to come and ask me about, hey, what kind of vlogs are you doing next? Something like that. Yeah, I'm all for having those kind of conversations. But don't come at me every 5 seconds and be like, what you up to? What you doing? No, I'm not going to tell you every second of my day.
That's why I made it to where that one guy, it was a guy of all, but he was like, sup,
WYD?
Yeah.
What you doing?
And it'd just be those little short things every day. And it's like, dude, this conversation goes nowhere and it's starting over like 51st dates every single time. So I actually toggled it to where he can't message me anymore.
Good.
I just got to that point because it's like, what are you hoping to do? These conversations do not go anywhere. They have no context, nothing intellectual in them. It's like, it's the same thing I said 50 times before, where it's like, I'm working. It just, I don't know, but yeah, it sounds like we're in the same wavelength. I hate that. I'm not good at small talk, and especially if it's repetitive, every day, and then it goes nowhere. Let's see here. Jordan says, or actually, Lupita says, sorry, I'm not chatting more. I'm driving around with Wilfred. That's fine. That's fine.
Make sure you're focusing on the driving instead of the texting because we don't need anybody else having any more incidents. I've had enough for all of us.
Right.
For the year.
Well, she has. But no, that's what's nice about this is it's, again, designed also as a podcast kind of thing so you can just listen as well. So it's all right. Let me see. So Jordan says, I watched Odd Time on Facebook, but to be honest, I never use it now. Yeah. Read some Poe tonight. Oh, and Lupita says, prove it. That's probably when I'm about being a man.
Yeah. Being a true gentleman kind of thing. Which he is. I can attest to that because otherwise I don't think I would have been so gung-ho to, what's the word, jump in on your Titanic night?
Right, because you can tell them, and again, is a good friendship standpoint here.
Yes.
It was just, she doesn't normally go the distance to meet
especially
a friend, especially for the
away.
first time, and then consecutively, like back to back, driving over 4 hours to see them. Because this is not just a she's living in the mansion overnight thing. No, we went the path that I think is healthier anyway for a new person. You get to know them. You have to have a foundation, and if it gets just you find your way. You find your purpose with time. But if you rush into something, you'll never know exactly what it was. So whether it's just you're meant to be a friendship thing, or back up a little bit. If you're meant to be an acquaintance, you're meant to be a friendship, meant to be a best or a close friend or a best friend, meant to be boyfriend, girlfriend, as in lover, moving on to intimate kind of a connection thing going on. Whatever it is. But you will never know that honestly. And I believe this to my marrow and my bones. I just do not think you're going to know that when you meet somebody and it's like 2 weeks later you got to declare what you are. It's like, no.
Now,
you're never going to know.
That being said, my kids' dad was a one-night stand that turned into a 10-year relationship. So,
but lesson learned,
but,
right?
Yes, but it didn't end up working out. He got his own stuff going on after his boss had committed suicide. He changed a lot, and we became to the point where it was no longer a good relationship for either of us. He's better off with his best friend's girlfriend now, or best friend's wife.
It happens.
But they're happy. I'm happy for them. At least I know her, and I know how she is with my kids. There have been a couple of instances where I've had to say, hey, I don't agree with this, but for the most part, at least I know when I'm not there, my kids are being taken care of, because obviously right now, I'm not in any position to travel to even go and see them. So, I mean, granted, he could have picked worse. I love his girlfriend to death. There were issues for a while, but things have definitely turned into a co-parenting. And we get along for the most part.
And and knowing that, again, I'm only coming from a reptile dad standpoint, not a humanoid one. But I've seen enough friends of mine, stuff that are humanoid parents, trying to co-parent. There is a degree, I think, where it becomes bad because kids aren't naive completely. You know what I mean?
Mine are too smart
They're
for
not
good.
Right. So even if it is mom and dad forcing a connection and they're not in love, the kid's still gonna know. And so I think it's hard, but I think it's one of those things where splitting up and at least being honest with yourself is a better route to do.
And that was the conversation I had with my oldest when it all started happening. I said, you want mommy to be happy, right? And she said, yeah. I said, well, mommy wasn't happy. I can't stay with your dad just because it makes you happy. I was not happy. Like, just trying to explain it to her at her level so she understood that this was the best option, because I didn't want them witnessing the fighting anymore, because it had gotten to the point of us fighting so bad that the next day, before the day I left him, the night before, him and I had gotten in a fight, and the next morning when I woke up, he was continuing it on a text message, and I text my mom. I'm like, I don't know what to do. He won't stop. I can't do this anymore. So I ended up going and staying with my mom. I did get back with them for a couple months trying to work it out, because, I mean, we both came from divorced parents. I was never married to him, but it's the same concept. So I didn't necessarily want my kids to grow up that way, but trying for a couple of months, and when our anniversary came and went, and neither one of us said happy anniversary, didn't celebrate in any way, shape, or form, I'm like, yeah, I think this is proof on both ends that this is just done. And I admitted to him, I'm like, my heart is not in it anymore. There's been too much hurt. I can't, because I asked for 6 months, and he wouldn't give me the 6 months to get myself right, because of the pain and the hurt that had happened during the last couple months of our relationship. And he wasn't having it. So I was like, all right, well, then this is the end of our relationship. I can't do this. And it ended up being for the best. Yeah, my situation right now, it could be a better situation. I had gotten out of a very, very toxic relationship previously, shortly before I moved out here. It was part of what kind of, what's the word? Why it was more hasty of me moving out here than what probably we would have originally done had the situation been different, but it became a dangerous situation for me where I had to get out. And Eric was kind enough to open his home up to me. Him and Zach both were like, yes, go ahead and come stay here, take the time that you need while I try and find my own place. But it was, if you're in a situation where you feel like it's dangerous to be there, get out. don't risk it. It is not worth the risk. I've seen too many people, too many friends of mine that have stayed, and it's been bad for them. And even though my situation was one where a lot of people didn't really think anything would happen because it was my ex's house I was living in, if he decided to go on one of his rampages and
I would say,
show
or
up
goes
at
down
my house,
the path of domestic violence or something.
yeah, if something were to happen and I called the cops, there's really nothing they could do because it was his house. We were trying to work on getting it into my name, but up until that point, and it was a shit house.
But you even skeptically talked about that.
I didn't think that he was actually going to do it.
Feel it was going to be a good in your interest to change that name.
No.
And because there's so many bad memories that you wouldn't have truly been happy and called a home, and we want to, all of us I think would agree that it's like you want to feel safe, secure, and your home, you want it to feel like home, you know?
The bad memories outweighed the good
Yeah.
at that point. And for my kids as well, they witnessed so much toxicity in that area. And like I was telling him, like when I finally get all his stuff out of the house, because he was still using it as a storage unit, even though he didn't live there anymore. I wanted to cleanse the house and try and get some of that bad juju out.
Well, and to me, my indicator that was a red flag, knowing about this, what I knew about it at the time, was when she was stating that she coming over here, and at that time it was like weekends or every other week or whatever.
Yeah.
And it was immediately the emo mansion. Mansion here felt more of a home than her own home, and she'd become emotionally distraught, leaving, knowing she didn't want to go, but she had to.
Yeah,
that was my sign of like, okay, something in the household at her home is not right for sure.
Yeah, he would notice. He goes, "You're getting that way again, aren't you?" Because it'd be like getting to that time of even up to 12 hours before I had to go back home, and I'm like, "Yep, I don't want to go. I didn't want to go back home. Like, yeah, I missed my kids, but going back home meant going back to that house and that situation. Like, I bought a security system just so I would know when he would show up at the house when I wasn't there, because since it was still his house and still in his name, he still had a key, and there was nothing I could do. I couldn't change the locks. I couldn't do anything, because all he'd have to do is break into the house, and then when I called the cops, they'd be like, oh, well, it's his house anyway, so he can do what he wants. So it was definitely a better situation, me getting far, far away where he doesn't know where I'm at. He doesn't have any contact with me. I blocked him every which way to Sunday, and anytime that he's found a different way to get a hold of me, I blocked him that way too. And then I finally got to the point where I passed it off to my dad, and I'm like, here, your turn. Because originally I was trying to handle it my way, and when my way wasn't working anymore.
Good cop, bad cop.
Yeah, it was when my way wasn't working anymore. I'm handing it off to my dad.
And
I've got my own issues with my dad, but at least I know one thing he is very, very protective.
Yeah. Well, and there's a reason also I have a P.O. box anyway, separate from just the physical mailing address. That was originally designed for whether it be fan mail or simps or whatever. So try to prevent as much as possible, put a barrier in there if I can to keep privacy still, and prevent going outside and seeing somebody lurking in the bushes or whatever, trying to get a glimpse of me or whatever. I'm not a fan of that idea.
Joy getting spied on for laundry.
Yeah, exactly. Just like that. My name is Earl. We're watching an episode, but yeah. So that's why we have that also. So I encourage her to utilize that, especially in this case, keeping that knowledge of the physical address to a minimum, just in case this individual we speak of goes extra stage of nuts. We don't know. So
yeah, he's definitely been unraveling, especially the last couple months, and he's already done enough things that I never thought he would over the past year and a half. And I'd stuck by him, trying to be there for him, because he definitely grew up in that situation where everybody in his life kind of abandoned him, and I didn't want to be that another person in his life to just up and abandon him. I gave him plenty of opportunities, but if the behavior doesn't change, then the apologies for the behavior doesn't mean anything. And I finally got to the point of enough is enough. I'm not putting myself through it anymore. I'm not putting my kids through it anymore. It's not good for them. It's not good for me. It's not safe for us. I'm done. Mm-hmm.
So yeah, Lupita says, I've said you looked hot in a picture or how you're dressed, but that doesn't mean I want to shag. LOL. It's just a compliment. I'm good after escaping an abusive narcissist. Yeah. My kid is my universe. Well, there's some connection there.
Yeah, unfortunately, I think a lot of us have had to escape an abusive narcissist, and not all of it is physical.
True. I have too, from a female standpoint.
Mine was very much mental and emotional for a very long time, and even though he was never physical towards me, when I've seen him in relationships after me, he put holes in walls, he put holes in doors. There was a situation where he admitted to me that he had contemplated different ways of killing one of his exes, and I'm just like, okay, well, this is to the point where that was part of the reason why I decided, I need to get out.
What a piece.
I'm like, I don't want to be the next one he decides to contemplate different scenarios.
Well, in part, at the time that we started hanging out, that was, from a friendship standpoint, Zach and I were getting rid of
your own toxic.
somebody, our own toxic person who had lived here at the time, and it just got to that point. So, yeah. Let me see here. Jordan says, LMAO, I was tabbed out and I thought the bottle was
a grinder.
LMAO, my brain is dead. Oh, Jordan.
So it's going to be fun gaming tonight. Got it.
Yes. Sounds like it. Which we'll be moving into transitioning a little bit because I put Kane on notification and he sounds like he's okay too. And then the other Jordan, which I ironically thought was you, Jordan, messaging me earlier because it was about 40 minutes past 8 our time, local time. So I thought it was you. Be like, are you going live? I thought you were checking in on us. So I was like, that encouraged us to hustle. And
that's why I started.
That's why I came down immediately and had her start then. But yeah, now let me go to these clips. Yeah.
Don't judge my video taking skills. I was trying to be kind of sneaky about it because some people are kind of iffy about having their video taken.
You're going to learn to get over that eventually with time. But you see. See, I'm spinning around. I'm making faces. Look at all that hair.
This is Amanda.
That's Amanda. She's in love. Look at her stroking my hair. She is in love with those curls.
It has nothing to do with the conditioner she just put on her hands either. That was just a ruse.
Yes. She's getting me moist. She's enjoying. Oh, look at her. She's rubbing her thighs.
Yeah. I stopped it anytime somebody would walk in so I didn't have somebody's ass crossing the screen.
I didn't know if it got too saucy for you and you're like, whoa.
No.
Alright, now she's commencing to the next stage.
I didn't get the end results. Sorry, you guys.
Well, now you guys get to see it here, but combing the hair. She's just... Alright, that's that one.
The next one's actually 2.5 minutes, so.
Oh.
Yeah.
Alright, here we go. How do you want your back? So we're talking about the design now. Now we're getting into that.
There is a point where I was kind of off-centered because I was paying attention to the conversation versus the camera.
See, we're having a serious conversation about my hair texture and my emo style. Oh, yes. Oh, yes. Oh, yeah.
Notice she kept pointing to her boobs, going like this.
Yes. And
See?
notice how I was a gentleman, and I remembered her eyes are up here. Oh, well. Okay. Somebody passing by sees that.
Yeah, at that point I kind of forgot I was recording.
Why were you so intrigued with the conversation?
It was funny.
She was cracking up. I heard you laughing.
Hey, at least when I went off center, I still had you in the video, so it still counts.
Yeah. Look at just flucking that hair. She wanted to get my hair moist because she was worried about it pulling. And
Plus, she was borrowing somebody else's razor to even do this.
Yeah. So I was just like, well, yes, I'd rather you actually do the actual true trimming and shearing of it versus the hair pulling, because I didn't come into Great Clips to have my hair pulled.
I should have gotten the clip when Frozen was playing.
Yeah.
On the overhead thing.
Who wears short shorts? I just saw that.
That was a chick
Oh, I didn't know who it was.
named Ryan.
Oh, I remember that.
Yeah.
It caused me to look over because I heard the name Ryan and I thought that could go girl or guy.
He's not going to let the curl stay, though.
True.
He's still training even at home.
I was calling him out for it, so I'm like, no. Alright, that's all.
That's it. Okay. Enough,
You don't get
enough
to see his
guys.
luscious curls
Enough
on the
guys.
bag, but the curls looked really good. It just didn't look like him, though. I knew they weren't going to stay.
Yeah, they weren't going to stay. But you can see it's still decently lengthed. See?
She did really good about making sure to keep the length like you were wanting. When mine got done, Darcy ended up cutting off a couple extra inches than I was originally planning.
Well, and that's the reason I forbid my mom from ever touching my head again, because she's biased and she'll cut off the whole thing back to above earlobe level, which is no!
Yeah, I mean, my hair needed a decent cut. It had been over a year since I'd gotten one, so she goes, "Don't panic, I'm about to cut off a lot of hair." I'm like, okay.
Oh, Lord, prepare yourself.
I'm like, all right. If any of you ever see some of my older pictures of what it used to look like, it used to come down to about right here on my back, and now it comes maybe to about right here. So it used to come down to about right here.
Yeah.
So she cut a good, 3-4 inches off. But it's just hair, it'll grow back.
They say that, yeah. Let me see here. Let's see. Lupita says you can't transition until you read Poe. Your ticket out of here. Well, we'll see what we do. And Jordan says, no, I'm down to game all night, as I'm sure you got my DM about selling my day and night. LOL.
Selling all day and night.
All day, yeah.
I'm assuming you meant sleeping?
Well, that's what it was earlier, yeah, because the sleep patterns are so horrendous, apparently. So that's good. So if you stay up till, 6-7 year time, I guess, that's great. You lot have really made my day today. Well, good.
I'm glad.
Lupita says, Eric is like a little kid in that chair, having too much fun, like you're waiting for the carnival ride to start. Ha,
Speaking of, there was a carnival thing going on when we were on our way back, and I pointed it out. I'm like, look, Ferris wheel. He goes, it's too damn hot, even if I wanted to go.
Yeah, it's too hot. Those of us who wear black, like it's a religion, it's just, yeah. And then lots of hair foreplay, she says. Oh, yes, there was a lot of that. What?
Nothing.
What'd you say?
So there usually is.
Oh, it usually is, yes. Well, you can see how it's so, your fingers don't get stuck now. Have you touched it yet? See what I mean? How soft it seems? Yes. And I still have that Rockstar shag, but yeah, it was looking very 80s hairball band member thing.
Oh, like mine does before I straighten it? If it's not like this, it's out like this. I look like a bad 80s hairband. I'm so glad they invented straighteners. It's not even funny right now.
Yeah. Let's see here. She wanted to pull it and rough you up. Ha ha. Yes. In love with the hair. It's kind of like Jack Dawson in Titanic, who's like, nope, I'm just in love with her hands. And Rose is like, looks like you had a love affair with her. Not just her hands. So I kind of feel like that was how it was with this. So she fell in love with my hair. And, that's okay.
One of these times I'm going to get him to let me straighten it to like how I do mine. Because his still has a little bit of poof to it.
A little bit of, yeah. Well, tonight I was in a hurry to get down here too. Sleeping, he says, asterisk, yeah. My spelling is, yeah, let's not talk about it. It's 4 a.m. at the moment. Okay. Read my previous comment, please. Oh, I did.
If you're talking about the transition to Poe being the ticket out of here.
Oh, was that the, yeah.
I think.
Maybe. She's holding me to it. Now you got to go back and read my previous comment. You are all giving it away.
What?
Pull it and rough it up. Lots of hair foreplay. Well, I think since we read it now.
Yeah. No, because she just said that while we were reading Jordan's. Lipida, do me a favor and re-comment the comments so we know.
Skip the one before Poe. What was it?
Oh, it might be too far up on the thing. It's probably that one that says universe.
Go back up.
No, he read the one about the shagging. Because I definitely said something
yeah.
funny. Because, and about the narcissist.
Yeah, and the LOL. I guess, I read that one, I think. But if there's something I missed, sorry, just state it again. Maybe I'm missing something. But yeah, then speaking of transition, into the next thing that we're going to talk about, which is on this title, the cops saving turtles. That was on the way home. It was one of those things we wanted to make sound even cooler than it really was. But it might have been something actually kind of interesting. But, so on the way back from the hospital checkup thing, or the clinic checkup technically, tonight on her foot, we seen two deputies, two cops that were blocking they pulled in the center of the road, and it just looked out of place, So we kind of pulled to the side, and we were making up, we're like, I wonder what they're doing.
I'm like, please tell me he's saving some turtles.
Please tell me they're saving a turtle. Yes, exactly. I would have made me so happy.
He goes, I don't know, but get the camera ready.
I'm like, Illinois takes saving turtles seriously. That's awesome. Because two cop cars with their lights on blocking the road. But they were out walking kind of gradually, lights down, and they were looking at the pavement, looking at the road.
Which I don't know why they needed the lights when it was still broad daylight, but...
Well, it's kind of I think it's a thing, like, if I did pursue law enforcement like I wanted to, I would still do that too, just because it's a big-ass flashlight. But... the ones we wish that were actually in the game Phasmophobia.
Yeah, I was going to say, that's why I always have a flashlight, so I look cool.
Yes, I always have a flashlight, so you look cool. It's so official. So, no, it ended up being that it looked like they were looking for evidence for something. We don't know still exactly what it was, but it does seem like, gives off the vibe of a traffic stop gone wrong, or somebody throwing something out the window as evidence or something, because they had just blocked off that road, and they were looking for something.
Lupita, I don't think it's showing up on our end, because the only thing between the shag and before Poe from you is an LOL.
Now I'm curious, because
I'm curious too. That's why I stopped you.
She's drawn the suspense now. I'm not sure what she's saying, and she's indicating that she's too embarrassed to repeat it. It was about you both, so now I'm definitely like,
But real quick, back to the cop thing. The
Yeah.
only thing we really got to see was him holding up a glove and kind of shaking it like he was putting it in, like evidence in a glove.
Right.
So
we don't know exactly what it was, but we made up kind of like how we were saying that her foot got attacked by a shark. That would have been a cooler story than a lawnmower, accident. We were saying what happens if it was Illinois law enforcement blocking off the road, making a big deal about saving a turtle. I'd be like, yeah. That's awesome.
I kind of made a reference to the there was an incident in Florida where what are those officers? The wildlife.
Oh, Florida Wildlife and Conservation Officer or something like that.
Yeah, they were putting down snakes and they put down one that they were not supposed to and had been told numerous times.
Yeah, as a reptile person, this infuriated me.
It broke my heart to watch it. But and they haven't really done a whole lot about it state-wise. So I'm like, Florida may not have as much respect for reptiles, but at least Illinois does. That was our whole spiel for the whole.
So that's kind of, the route that we went with it. But long story short, you can look it up. It did make national headlines, if you watch the news at all. When it happened, it was basically, in Florida especially, and it seems like a lot of states are making it kind of complicated for exotic pet owners, reptile, anyone who has something other than a cat and a dog. It seems to make it harder for them. And so a lot of rules, and in Florida, because of invasive species and stuff like that, they have different rules and stuff like that. And so unfortunately, they were going there, and this guy was trying to abide by every rule, everything. He's paying attention to him. He knew what he did. They label everything and everything. Anyway, when they did this audit or this inspection or whatever it was, and this Florida Fish and Wildlife came in there, and he unfortunately didn't meet something to their satisfactory, and they were there to euthanize on site some of the snakes that he wasn't. I guess they didn't want him having or whatever. One of them
illegal.
Seemed like overnight came out. Anyways, trying to stick with the facts, keep my thoughts out of this. But then he had a pet snake, a boa, that was clearly not one of those that was illegal.
And not only that, but it was pregnant.
Yeah.
That made it even sadder.
And they still euthanized it and then realized their mistake after they already killed it. It's just...
It was heartbreaking, and seeing how they euthanized these snakes in general was really disturbing, because it was like they weren't making sure that it wasn't in any pain necessarily when it went.
Yeah, because they still it was a bolt gun or something, is what I remember right.
Yeah,
to spare you the details, it's a blunt force trauma to the snake's head to euthanize it, but they don't always die immediately, so they suffer a little bit. It's very sad. Anyway, so that's that was the talk in the reptile community for a while. Still is.
Mm-hmm. No, I am not a snake lover.
I can do non-venomous ones. I still have a connection though to snakes, because reptiles, I guess, even if they're venomous or not. But it's a respectful thing. It's like the one that came here, that black racer. Some of you might have remembered me taking a picture of that. Came up right behind me. I was on a ladder doing some stuff outside, and I had the knowledge to identify it, so it wasn't venomous, so it wasn't a threat or anything like that. Just gave it space, let it pass, and it didn't feel any kind of a threat of me either, because otherwise it would have stopped, rattled its tail a little bit, and it wasn't a rattlesnake. But some snakes, like bull snakes and some other species, they will shake their tail, very much like imitating a rattlesnake. But this one's not venomous. and it would coil up or assume a position, and it didn't. It just kind of flicked its tongue a little bit and just kept moving. So you just let it go.
Yeah,
So-
for me, it's I like snakes behind glass where I don't have to really deal with them. I've held a snake once. I don't mind it. I'm just not necessarily one of those people that is, oh my God, I see a snake. I need the snake. I want it. I want to hold it.
Right.
I'm more like that with the tortoises and the turtles and stuff than I will probably ever be with snakes.
See, and I'm not not a huge snake person. I don't have one in my collection of reptiles, but I've kept it open to the possibility that yes, I could.
And it was
Certain species, certain ones, I'd be picky about what I have, but yeah, definitely nothing venomous. I don't want to have to deal with that extra level of care, extra precaution, and I have to check with Illinois, permits and laws and everything about that kind of thing. So no, I wouldn't want anything venomous anyway. Everything I have up there is considerably safe. Of course, do have a monitor lizard that, especially at full size, it could, because it's more of a meat eater type lizard, insects and small rodents and things like that. And when it gets full size, it could be about anywhere between 3 and 4.5 feet. So it'd be my biggest lizard.
be Emery laying down.
Yeah. So, let me read the chat here. Hell yeah, my dad just woke up, so now he can't get mad, says Jordan. Lupita says, oh wow. And then Jordan says, anyway, gonna grab some food, talk to you later, or talk to you after. Yep. It'd be very soon if you're still in the chat, Jordan. It'd be very soon. You both are snake lovers? Question mark. Aw.
Yeah, no, it's just I'm not a snake lover, but it's just creatures in general. Knowing that they had to be euthanized as it was, and seeing that it wasn't even done humanely, it broke my heart. And then for that to be somebody's pet, like a beloved pet that was not supposed to be euthanized, and not only was it euthanized, but it was pregnant, so they killed the babies too. Yeah, it was just a very, very tough thing to watch.
But yeah, as Lupita says, it's really just a knowledge and respect of that. It's like we coexist with the snakes, stuff, and a lot of wildlife. And I was just seeing something on the news the other day about buffalo. Remember, you saw that too.
Mm-hmm.
Buffalo attacking people because they're trying to get too close to them
just to take
for selfies. So of course, I mean, I'm rooting for the buffalo.
Yep. I said that Buffalo should have knocked the girl on her ass. He goes, well, she knocked herself on her ass just shortly after that.
Yeah, that was funny. She ran away and fell down and tripped over air, basically, like a horror movie. So it was funny and comedic to us.
Yes.
Lupita says, wow, my comments about you two are not appearing on your end. Crazy. Well,
we're really curious.
Now we're extra curious. Now,
yes.
Say it again. Try
Please.
it again, or if all else fails, you could send it on Facebook Messenger. But yeah.
He'll make sure to tell me.
Yeah, for sure.
If you don't want to say it for everybody to see again, especially if it's not popping up for everybody, seeing how it's not popping up for us.
You all missed another.
There was another one? It's not showing. I swear, it's not showing up on our end.
Yeah, because I read the snakes note quotes about eating
Palms.
their owner. Yeah, so I read that one. Well, sorry, we're not seeing it, so I don't know if Facebook is censoring you
I
or
was going to say,
YouTube censoring.
Zuckerberg decided to
This would be
mosey
YouTube.
y'all
Yeah.
over to YouTube to jump in just so that he could fuck with us.
He heard his name, so yeah. Well, if it's meant to be, we'll see it, I guess. I don't know. Other than that, that was our main thing.
No.
Oh, okay.
Petco.
Well, how much of that do you... I mean, we have a new tortoise in our family. A new baby under my reptile dad status. A new cherry head tortoise we got. So, I'll talk about the basic thing. So we went there, just kind of view some things. Because sometimes they have some stuff in terms of like live feeding, like insects and stuff like that, and different stuff than other stores that are locally around here. I have a love-hate thing for Petco personally, because back in the day, going back several years now, at least to 2009 or so, there was an employee at a Petco that I frequented, knew me on a regular basis, knew me by my first name, and would always ask me, do you want to sign up for a Pet Pals rewards thing? And I would always say no, because I already had a Pet Smart one and I didn't want another one. I tried to keep things to a minimum. So fast
While
forward.
I'm over here with apps and shit for everything.
Yeah. So fast forward to at least a couple, maybe 3 years later, she asked again. She was persistent. And I said, okay, fine. And so I signed up for it. It got, it was mediocre use out of it for a few years. And I would say from at least 2000, well, just for the sake of argument here, 2012 to 2015, then I randomly went in there and it didn't work anymore. My rewards. It's because the company, corporate level, I guess, changed it from if you don't come into the store and you don't use your PALS rewards for 6 months when it used to be 12, they will cancel you. It's like, that's not right. So, I bitched and moaned about it and carried on, but they couldn't reinstate my status. Instead, some lady named Michelle got my my stuff, which is concerning in any way, because I get emails still sent to me, but they're addressed to Michelle. That would seem like a breach of, like a security breach. I don't know. It just seems weird to me. Anyway, so I didn't really step foot in that store very often. Here and there, I never sign up for it. And to the cash register person or the employee that would dare ask me, do you want to sign up for the PALS perk thing or whatever? I'm like,
no, and I don't want to.
I would say no. And if they didn't stop there and they said, oh, well, why not? Because I'd say no, and I've signed up for it before, but, and then I would go. And then I'd have to go into detail. And I would have almost a little bit of Karen in me, but I would explain, and not, I'd be like, I know it's not your fault. It's your company's fault. And so I didn't sign up for it. Anyway, so we went in there today. So fast forward a few more years. Went in there today with the possibility of just getting, some stuff, feeder worms, like mealworms for my frogs. And I was like, well, let me check out the reptile area too, because sometimes they have some stuff that the other stores do not have.
They had a leopard gecko that wasn't in there anymore, and I was very, very sad because I wanted to see it.
Well, there's that, but then also we ran into a cherry head tortoise, which you never see those in like a establishment like that, like a chain pet store like that. And it was already discounted off.
No.
No. It was cheap. It was a $2.75 or something like that was what it was normal price. And then the guy comes by as we're staring at it and puts on a 50% off discount kind of thing. I'm like,
that is a sign.
That's a sign, literally. By the sign, it's a sign. And I did have my name is Earl look. It's like, I did that look.
And I'm kind of being the not antagonist. What is
kind
that?
of an instigator.
Yeah, that's the word I'm looking for. I was being the instigator. I'm like, for us standing right here and he puts a sign right on the one we're looking at, I feel like that's a sign that
is a sign.
It needs to become part of our family.
So, and then comes down and sits on the floor and talks to us for a little bit, and then he talks to us about their new, premier thing. So you have to pay for it, of course.
Pets Plus.
Some kind of a
Vital
care thing, which is new to me because again, I don't go to Petco for anything really. So, and he said, sign up for that, and you save another
20%.
20%. So it's basically 70% off at full price for this tortoise that you never see in stores anyway. I mean, if you run into it at a reptile store or reptile show, it's still $250 minimum
for a baby.
For a hatchling.
And this one looked to be what, 6 months?
This one's about actually probably closer to a year.
Okay.
Year old. And so it's considered established, which is good because those of you into reptiles, or if you're not, let me educate you. Hatchlings are our most delicate stage, and so those are usually the cheapest because you have to spend a lot of work babysitting them, etc., to get them to, UVB, calcium, soakings, etc., humidity, all that kind of stuff. And then as they get established, it's a little less of that, but then they become more expensive with just their size, their age, and then you get adult breeder size reptiles, and they're, of course, the holy grail. They're most expensive in most cases.
What is the average price, would you say, for a breeder one?
I would say closer to $350.
Okay. So not
For a cherry head tortoise.
I'm like sitting up here thinking way up there in price. So it's still
a stair
not.
step, but again, that's for a cherry head or a redfoot.
Yeah.
They're different if it's a different. It depends on your species, so it does take into context what I'm talking about here. That's not, it does steep up if it's like an Aldabra or even a sulcata tortoise. It's the bigger species. But anyway, so we end up discussing it. She agrees then to go ahead and sign up for the vital care thing, and that's what made my decision. I'm like, okay then. So now I technically am a reptile dad of, minus the other stuff I have, of just tortoises specifically. 3 cherry heads now, and 4 redfoots, and 1 Greek.
And I've definitely been the instigator for the 2 cherry heads.
Two under her watch have found their way into the mansion. Yes.
Yes.
So, let me see here. All my comments about you two are just crazy. Yeah, I'll miss another. Okay, I took a picture of them, so I'll message them to Eric. There, I messaged you. Probably YouTube censoring me. You've been naughty? Have you been naughty? Let me see here.
You're in good company if you are, because I tend to do that a lot.
Yeah, you probably used a keyword that YouTube is censoring out. Let's see on there. That's a good one. Thank you for that. I don't know if you want that to be read or not, but thank you for sharing that with us. What was the other one? Oh. Blushing time for Poe. Okay, yeah, it's probably because you use those keywords, and I don't have moderators. I'm not that big of a streamer on YouTube, at least, so I don't have like people nitpicking and censoring people in the chat. So it's probably a YouTube thing. But thank you for sharing that. That's funny. All right. Anything else? What do you think? Because I think we'll switch over to the gaming stuff. I know she wants me to read Poe, but
the only thing or reason I made sure to mention about our new addition is because I had mentioned it at the beginning when you were upstairs. So.
Oh yeah.
So we had to make sure to.
If there's something quick, not sure.
Count your blessings on this, because I don't think he really does poetry per se.
Yeah, poem is not my specific thing.
I think that was more of a Trevor thing.
Trevor did that one better, I think. And of course, he's not part of this anymore. So, what's this? The One Departed. Okay.
Well, Poe was morbid, so there's that.
Well, yeah, there's that. That always works. Let me see if I read this right and pronounce everything correctly. Not too quick. Oh, okay.
Being slow and sensual.
I guess. Very much like how I read the 50 Shades of Grey.
Yes.
You know, like that. Okay. I could read it in that style. I could read it in the style of Chris Hansen. What do you want? Okay, I'll do it in the style of Chris Hansen. Read it with the impending doom tone. Okay.
You can't even read the first word, can you?
Well, seraph, I think is what it is. But, I read it kind of like a impending doom. So very just gloomy, very Igor-y, I guess is what I'll go for. So, okay. Very emo. Sarah, thy memory is to me like some enchanted, far-off isle in some tumultuous sea, some ocean vexed as it may be with storms, but where, meanwhile, serenest skies continually just o'er that bright ocean smile formid the earnest cares and woes that crowd around my earthly path, sad path, alas, where grows not even one lonely rose. My soul, at least, a solace hath in dreams of thee, and therein knows an Eden of bland repose. Poem by Edgar Allan Poe.
Called To One Departed.
To One Departed. Yes, that's all I have in me tonight. But thank you. That's more than nothing. That's better than nothing. Yeah, I mean, it definitely had that kind of blah, you know, do I have to? You know, just very, so.
You're better off getting him to play or sing something.
Yeah, musical instruments or reading something in the form of Chris Hansen or
I gotta
George
see if
Takei.
that show or the movie's 365 Days. You haven't seen it, just like you haven't watched 50 Shades, which we do need to change both of those. Just hey, you can't read it and not actually watch it. Sorry, but the 365 Days is very similar to that, but it's more of a, in my personal opinion, it's got a little bit of Stockholm added into it.
Oh, well, there's that.
But it'd be interesting to see you read some of that one.
Yeah. So, in closing thoughts here, any of the gamers that continue in the second half of tonight, if you're still in the chat, like Jordan, Vesper I did tag, but I don't think she couldn't even get the game to work, so I don't even know. But I tagged her just for the creatures aspect, 'cause she's still on this. Yeah, you chose Melancholic Sorrow. Yeah. Well, I mean, that was good for that one, I think. But yeah.
I don't think his voice goes kind of deep enough to have the impending doom tone that I feel like you're searching for. But,
next time read some mysterious, spooky poem. Well, that'd be more...
How about this? I'll do some research and see if I can't find something that...
Or let her do it.
I can do certain poetry, but I don't think I can pull off the the Poe vibe.
Oh, you can't?
But no. But
So I'm better at that than you?
Yes. But I'll see if I can't find something that's down his alley that would work for you as well.
Yeah.
No
Otherwise, we
promises.
could switch and do a musical instrument next time because I
Yeah.
know it was one or the other, if you remember.
But
so.
Lord knows I'll have plenty of time on my hands for the next 6 weeks. So.
Yeah. Okay, and good night to all, friends, she says. All right, well, good night. So,
night.
everyone, gamer buddies are still in there. I don't know if Jordan is still in the chat. Be messaging you privately in a second. We'll switch over to Discord and start Twitch streaming. So, if you still want to keep up or watch our silly asses game a little bit, stick with us. Go to the Twitch. It's
You'll see his beautiful face, but
Yeah.
mine will be hidden behind a screen because I don't have the same setup.
Cinematic Gamer 5000 on Twitch. So, all right, everyone, peace, rock on, and have a good week.
See you next week. Bye.
Yes, bye.